bulletproof back in the day. That motherfucker's simply amazing.
I can't help but love the guy for who he is.
I got a chance to see George live a whole career of professional competitive bodybuilding before me.
Someone like George can see talent that the guy can't see in himself. I go on stage, I win the show. I can put that show on George's name.
I ended up taking second, George took third. He was prepping me for that show. So he's getting me ready, in effect, to beat him on stage. But that was just George. Listen, George didn't care.
He has all the information and the magic.
I think George is my number one fan and supporter, second only to my wife. You got a couple friends that actually believe in you, got your back. You can conquer the world.
George is a superhuman. This is the man that fought cancer, bro. He whooped cancer's ass. Not a lot of people can say this.
The robbery and the shotgun to his abdomen. And now a cancer survivor. I mean, what does that tell you about a person, the character?
Ladies and gentlemen, you got the guru right here, brother.
4 years ago, I used to weigh 315 pounds. I was morbidly obese and out of control. We decided to film a documentary about my weight loss journey where I lost 150 pounds in 9 months and got into the bodybuilding competition world. But the journey didn't stop there. Teresa decided to embark in her own fitness journey where she became a 2-time bikini pro. Along that way, we met a very, very interesting man.
Guys, from being raised as a child soldier, to getting shot 3 times and being pronounced dead, to getting a stage 4 cancer and beating that, he is one of the most accredited coaches in the bodybuilding world. His life is a story of a remarkable resilience and a true unbreakable human spirit. This is the story of George Farah,
the guru.
Everything happened in your life. It's a story to tell. Because of bodybuilding made me who I am today.
George Farah, the great George Farah. The title of this documentary is called The Guru, right? Everyone that we've met considers you to be a guru, but we wanted to hear from the man himself. How did you become who you are? Bring us back to the beginning.
It's all started when I was a little kid back in Lebanon. We were very, very poor. You know, I lived in such a poor neighborhood.
We were 11 people living in 1-bedroom house, you know. We were in the middle of, you know, the biggest war in Lebanon, the civil war that started in 1975. The only thing you can remember from your childhood is just the bombardment and like the noises, the missiles hitting you, and then you be sleeping in the middle of the night, and then your mom and dad, they just gonna grab you and let's go, we gotta go down to the basement.
I was a child soldier. I mean, my God, the first machine gun I held was taller than me.
He came from a very poor family. I can relate to that. My name is Ali Maki, and I was born just like George. I was born in Lebanon. He had nothing except his body and his mind. And what he chose is the only thing that you can choose in Lebanon, is to be educated. And he chose that to be his secret weapon. He got himself out of Lebanon through his education that he did on himself.
When I moved to America, I was 17. And then I came to Rochester, but I had to live in my car. And that Toyota Tercel, man, served me. I started the job, you know, at a place called L. Davis Wholesale. You know, and these guys were so nice to me. And I started working there like a security guard, you know, in the bad neighborhood.
Right.
But I'm like, you know what? Let me just get my feet wet and stuff. Whatever I had to do, right? Wow. The problem is, while I'm working at L. Davis at the front, somebody told me, hey man, what's that smell? You guys sell deodorant here. I'm like, oh my God, I am putting deodorant, but it's in my hair, whatever. So that's when I decided to join a gym. But I had to. I gotta take a shower. But people don't know that until you know, and everybody's like, couple guys, they saw my body while I'm in the shower. They said, holy crap, they don't know like why I'm shredded. You know, I didn't have a lot of money to eat a lot of food. But they said, once you enter the show, you guys, you will not believe this. So I entered the first show, you know, it was the Mr. Lake Ontario, and I won it.
Seeing Samir Bannout train in his native Beirut, Lebanon, inspired middleweight winner George Farah to start training.
My name is George Farah. I was born in Lebanon, but I spent most of my life in Rochester, New York. It's an upstate New York area. In 1983, when Samir Bannout, he's my native, you know, from Lebanon, won the Mr. Olympia, I was watching, I was probably about 13 years old. I couldn't believe it. Wow, somebody from Lebanon, you know, looked that good. It's all over the TV, the news, this and that. So it kind of like got me, you know, psyched a little bit, you know.
It was a very interesting journey. When I first met George, he had just turned professional bodybuilder and he was trying to get his debut as a professional. And so I went through the first phase with him where he was just bulking up and trying to build a career as a professional bodybuilder. And at the same time, we were training together. I was fixing his food and he really needed to rest and focus on his training so he can take his body to the next level. And we did it together. I also competed in the figure. It was the first year figure came out in 2003. So it was very interesting because George started to coach me and he did my diet and he went through that with me. And we were just kind of trying to figure it out, the both of us at the same time.
She saw me in the magazine. She said, oh my God, this guy, he just won the national. He's a pro and he's in our area. I'm gonna reach out to him. We started seeing each other, talking to each other and stuff. And it's the funniest thing. So because she's Egyptian, you know, she won't even give me a kiss. Even after like we went on a couple of dates, she won't kiss me. She goes, no, you know, we don't kiss, this and that. I'm like, oh my God. So now at the end, by 6 months later, I had to go ask her dad for permission or whatever. Eddie Murphy said it best. It's like when you pour on the street and you're so hungry and somebody throw you a cracker. It doesn't matter what cracker, you're like, man, that's not no regular cracker, that's some saltine or something. So after 6 months, I'm like, oh my God, that's the best woman I ever had, you know what I mean? The kiss is so perfect, everything, you know what I'm saying?
George and I come from the same hometown and the same gym. My name is Bob Ciccarello. I'm known as the voice of bodybuilding and the Olympia.
The Olympia gold medal. The check for $400,000. And two-time Olympia champion, Big Ramy.
All right. We were both competing, you know, trying to get to the national level and then hopefully to the pros and then, of course, to the promised land of California. We moved on to the Southwest Pro, I think it was. And I ended up taking second and George took third, right behind me. Interesting thing about that was he was prepping me for that show. So he's getting me ready, in effect, to beat him on stage. But that was just George. Listen, George didn't care. You know, it was like, look, let the judges sort that out. That's not our business, okay? Our business is to come in, you know, and you as my brother, we're gonna, you know, I'm gonna continue to lead you down this road. And he did. So he'd prep me, he'd prep himself. We'd go in, and whatever placings we'd get.
I met George Farah when I was 13 years old, working out. And George would work out with some of the biggest guys in the gym. He was the biggest guy in the gym. They literally look like, you know, like a Marvel comic book character. My name's Jason Guck. I'm a business owner, entrepreneur, and I consider George Farah to be one of my best friends. Nobody sees muscles that big. So naturally in the gym, and you see these guys lifting 4 or 5 plates on each side, bench pressing, and the bars are bending, and here I am over trying to get 1 plate. So I'm intimidated, and hearing these guys screaming in the gym.
I have won couple shows, you know, like a local shows, and I was getting ready. I want to do a national show, which is the USA.
Pure beef muscle. That's what you call arms.
I was going to buy a bottle of water. On our way there, you know, one of my friends, they played the dice game. So I'm going in and he's outside, start playing dice. I'm like, dude, what are you doing? So now what these thugs thought, seeing me getting ready for USA, big guy, they thought I was his bodyguard and ended up getting shot. You know, the first bullet went actually right through my kidney, my right kidney. The second bullet missed my spine by like 1/4 of an inch. So I would have been crippled, you know? And then the other one is in the front. Honestly, I didn't know how severe I was shot. But all what I can tell you is, man, that earlier that day, I had some steak with onions, and the onions were coming out of me. I'm like, holy crap, I know something is not right. They put me in a sedative coma, okay, because I had like 7 cardiac arrests, you know, and I was pronounced dead a couple times.
On that day I got shot, I was a little over 210 pounds or something, and I left, I was only like 130 some pounds, you know, so imagine, you know, what would have happened to me if I was just an average guy, you know, it would have been 6 feet under. They said for the first couple of weeks, my body was actually, my brain and heart were using my muscles to feed, you know, on.
Then to watch him overcome all that, be on main stage, which is what his dream and his passion was with the scars and all that, where most people would have been like, you know what, just give up. Your body's tainted. He had a dream, he had a mission, he was going to follow through. And, you know, just George is the kind of guy you can't say you can't do it. Because if you tell him you can't do it, he's going to do it 10 times harder.
A year later, I went to the New York State Bodybuilding Championship at 169 pounds. You know, that was 6 months after my last, you know, surgery. They removed my ileostomy bag, and I took from all the judges, all 11 judges, straight first. So I won it. I couldn't believe it. My first time out at the national, and I turned pro.
I was a little kid. They said, yeah, good luck. You know, you stand behind the bar, we don't see you. You're gonna be at the Olympia stage. I'm like, you know, that stuff resin here, and you like work towards it. Then I get a shot. They said, well, that's it, he's done. And I came back, I won the New York stage, right?
No matter what I do, I'm happy. I gotta show the world, smaller guys like me, they can do it too.
Again, this is the guy that took a couple of bullets to the chest.
Sean, as the story goes, he survived as an innocent bystander being shot 3 times in the stomach during a 1997 robbery attempt. And this is just his 3rd year as a pro, and he's...
Here we've got about 20 of the best in the world, and George Farah is amongst them.
And here I am. I'm at the Olympia. What can I ask for more, you know?
He was bodybuilding, and he was going up against a good friend of mine, a teenage rival of mine, Bob Ciccarello. I'm Sean Ray, and I've been around, one of the original OGs. As a matter of fact, I started bodybuilding back in 1983.
And the winner is Sean Ray.
I knew it. He looks fantastic, and he really deserved to win this competition.
This is a very happy Sean Ray.
I never really thought highly of him as a bodybuilder. Didn't have much structure, had kind of longer thighs. I was very critical of his physique, but he won the national championships, and he won it on condition, so I knew he knew how to get in shape.
And I will be back to the Olympia. And not like some people said, and one of them was Sean Ray. I will never be at the Olympia again after the 2002. That's why he apologized. Because you know he made a mistake when he looked at me last night. That's right, baby.
When you did qualify for the Olympia, you had a message for Sean at that time.
Yes.
Because,
yes,
you know,
I think... You know, and I think that's why me and Sean became close, because he liked the way I'm real, you know what I mean? Mm. You know, because, you know, like we were talking, and I said, you know, like in one interview, I said, you know, I'm going to make it to the Olympia, you know, I don't care. It was supposed to be my first show ever, the Southwest. And Sean said, this kid will never make it to the Olympia. So what happened is I'm like, it's just like, again, I'm like, why this guy saying I can't make it to the Olympia? You know what I mean?
Yes.
I said, I'm going to work day and night. And sure enough, so they start pulling me against those big guys. And because I was so shredded, I kept making them all look fat.
Yeah.
He's just happy to be alive. George, Bulletproof Farah.
When I went on that stage, you know, even when I took 12th, right? If you sit down and look at the people who are ahead of me, though every one of them is a legend.
Right.
You know, I mean, we're talking about Marcus Ruhl. We're talking about Lee Haney. We're talking about Sean Ray. You talk about people like, holy crap, these people like, you know, Flex Wheeler, you know, like Dennis James. I mean, you talking about some serious hitter, man.
Yeah.
I remember competing against him or with him on the same stage in the Colorado Pro back in 2006. I remember that one exactly because that's when he beat me. I'm Dennis James, or as they say, the menace or the motivator. I was so off, I was so messed up that George beat me. And I remember my wife told me, because she was with me at that time, it was so funny. And she said she saw George afterwards. She overheard George saying, like, he's just happy that he beat me. George is the kind of guy who wants to help people. He always told me before I even started working with him, and I remember that very clearly, that he always said, come with me and you win shows. And in 2009, we won 2 shows back to back. I liked his approach, you know? Me and George, I mean, we have history. I can't help but love the guy for who he is and what he does. But sometimes, right now he's not that kind of no more, but before, sometimes he could say something that could just make me want to choke him, you know? So, and therefore, I appreciate him even more because, you know, at the end of the day, I mean, you can have differences sometimes, or you can have, you know, you can agree to disagree, you know, and still at the end, you know, we still walk out together, so.
I'm Steve Blackman. I am the owner, president, and CEO of Muscular Development Media. George was a competitor, okay? He was a great competitor, a great bodybuilder. And then to go on into his career to become a professional coach, a nutrition advisor, is far from few in the industry. Very few people have that hands-on experience. That makes the difference between George Farah and others.
Why did you retire from bodybuilding? What was the main reason for you to say, okay, I'm done with competing myself and I'm just going to give all my time to helping others to achieve their goal?
You know that because that last time, you know, like I competed, I looked really good, but then I looked in, and I'm going to be honest with you. At that time, Dennis, I'm like, okay, well, here I am. I'm going to qualify, but I'm not going to do the Olympia, but I'm doing it for the love of me. You know, I love doing the bodybuilding. Mm-hmm. But then I said, wait a minute, man, I have 13 people at the Olympia. How the hell am I going to compete at the Olympia? I have 13 people I got to care for.
Me and George would always keep in constant contact because we would see each other at the shows. By that point now, he had become a guru. So he was training other people, and notable people, because by this point, he had gotten a reputation for being the guy to go to get stuff done.
Well, here he is, your defending Arnold Classic champion, Branch Warren, and you just cannot say enough about the Warrior.
Hey guys, my name is Branch Warren, IBB Pro Bodybuilder, 2-time Arnold Classic champion. And I started working with George Farah in 2008. By the 2000s, you know, gurus and coaches were becoming in style, and everybody was using them. And there were some really good ones, and there were some that probably shouldn't be coaches. So our first competition we did together was the 2009 Arnold Classic. And so I went there, we got 3rd place, and he said, we're gonna change this and this, and we'll do Olympia. And I remember I put it in his hands. We made some adjustments, and everything started changing. And I felt great, had a ton of energy, I was strong all the way up to the show, and I went in and got 2nd place. And then from there, we went on and won every major show in the world.
Branch Warren!
The rumors are true.
Muscle Meds and Kai Greene have confirmed that Kai will be training with George Farah to compete at the New York Pro on May 28th in order to qualify for his third Olympia attempt in September. This marks a huge shift for Kai as he breaks with longtime coach and mentor Oscar Arden to join with George, who most recently took Branch Warren to his Arnold Classic win.
What's up, everybody? It's your boy K with the AKA Mr. Getting It Done. I am here. Very, very fortunately, I am here today to talk about the guru. I needed a team. I was willing to do everything, but there were some things that I couldn't do, and there were some things that I really needed to have some help with and understanding behind the scenes. Sometimes to find a prince, you might have to kiss some frogs. And I was tired of kissing frogs, but I still wanted to move forward with my career. And as luck would have it, I think George and I ended up talking.
Today, we're gonna train shoulders. I'll be joined by the wonderful George Farah, the guru.
He talked to me about things that I should be doing that I did not know to do, that had all to do with like just better health. It made sense. And I got the sense from him that I was able to trust in a very meaningful and real way. We got to the show, the night before the show, the day of the show comes, and we seal the deal. And I was very, very thankful because that was one of the ways I was able to renew my confidence in myself.
First place medal and jacket, that goes to with his third Arnold Classic victory, Kai Greene.
Wow. I got what it takes. Only if I have that team, that team, that person. And that person happens to be George. And he goes, I'm gonna make you one of the biggest names in fitness and bodybuilding. I was ready. I was ready to take over the world. I was ready to take over the fitness world. And literally, I think George really changed my life. He changed my outlook on life.
Well, congratulations, Blessing. Man, what a great day for you. I'm so happy for you.
I love you, George.
Congratulations.
You love me back?
Of course. Congratulations to George Farah.
What's up, everybody? It's Dexter Jackson here, Mr. Olympia, 9-time Arnold Classic champion.
A guy who's probably done this more than anybody else in the bodybuilding history. Your 2019 Tampa Pro champ, Dexter Jackson.
When I got to my last competition, that my wife and I, we were contemplating on retiring, 2010 I think it was, because my body wasn't responding as well as it used to. So I had to change up and do something different, right? So that's when George came to me. He's like, man, you should let me train you. And I'm like, man, watch out. Gail was like, you know what, let's give him a try. So I reached back out to George. I was like, okay, George, let's make this happen. So he sends me the first diet, and I was like, there's no damn way I'm eating all of this food. And it's just so much food. So that changed everything with my body, and it got me back to looking the way I used to look. I'm coming down now.
Okay, thanks. Bye-bye.
Thank you. All right, y'all. Rejudging time. Let's get it. So after that, George and I, we probably won about 4 or 5 Arnolds together. And a total of maybe 13 or 14 shows George and I won together. So he prolonged my career for another 10 years.
Coaches play such a big role, and as you said, George was one of the OGs. I'm Jim Manion, president of the IFBB Professional League and president of the National Physique Committee, NPC, worldwide now, all over the world. And, he had a lot of great clients, and that just adds more. When you have coaches and they're able to bring in very good people into our industry, that's very, very important. I mean, one of his real big people he brought in was a Kai Greene. Kai's never won Mr. Olympia, but he was really brought a lot to our sport too, because he was A little bit different, but he was also exciting. And showed a lot of interest, and he was a great poser. But George has trained so many people.
He's like an auto mechanic for cars. You know, you come in with a broken car, and he fixes it. Or you come in with a Corvette and you want to make it faster, he'll help you make it better. Hi, I'm Steve Weinberger, IFBB Pro Judge, head judge of the Olympia. He's had a huge impact. He's helped a lot of athletes, helped a lot of people in general, even if they weren't competing, getting in shape and getting their lives together. He's been a mentor for many people.
In 2017, and I kept telling my wife, you know, everybody compliment me on my body, but I told her, I said, man, something's not right. She goes, what do you mean? I said, honey, I think I'm gonna die.
We were talking on the phone, and he says, you know, brother, I got some bad news.
What's up, everybody? Here's George Farah, Bulletproof. You guys heard a lot of rumors. Mr. Arnold, yes, I do have cancer. It's colorectal cancer leading up to the colon, a little bit on my bladder. It's big, it's bad, but I'm baddest.
Did the scope, and you know how like you're out of it, they gas you for the scope or whatever. But I can see his face is white as a ghost. You know, I told my wife, I swear, you can ask my wife. I said, cancer, right? You know, she goes, why are you saying that? I said, honey, what is he telling you is something, he found something big. I said, that's cancer. You know, like I knew, you know, you're so in tune with your body, you know? I knew something's not right.
When George got sick, we were both at the height of our careers. We were very successful. George was coaching and had his personal gym, and he was in a good place in his life and his career. And George had always dreamed of buying a house on the water, and he just got the Bay House, and he was very happy in the middle of renovating it. We had another big house in the middle of Penfield that we've always dreamed about having. Well, we were not really sure whether he was going to make it or not.
I needed my dad to walk me down the aisle. That for me was like the breaking point. You know, we had birthdays, Christmases, holidays, and he wouldn't be there. You know, finding out he had a 13% chance to live was very, very difficult.
You know, we could talk about faith all the time, you know, and I think it's not until something really trying like that comes knocking on your door that I think you can kind of discover really, you know, what your faith is made of.
I didn't know whether to be inspired because this man was so just courageous, whether to cry because he just was in pain and he had to be in pain. It's not like his choice. Yeah, there was a lot of, you know, nights that were long and, you know, it just, did we know that George was gonna make it or not? No. But one thing that you knew is that George was not gonna give up, no matter what.
He went through many, many, many surgeries. I don't want to say the wrong amount, but I think it was in the more than 10.
Yeah, my surgery you guys done.
So what he had said that day, you know, I hope he doesn't mind me saying it, he goes, Danny, broke down in my arms. He goes, why is this happening to me when I'm so good to everyone? You know? And
he really had a rough time. Especially, it was during the time that I was getting ready for shows, a couple shows, and George couldn't make it, you know, and it was hard.
I remember when Dexter competed at the Arnold one time, George showed up and still had bags on him. But he was there, and he got sick right afterwards and had to go to the hospital when he got back home. But he still tried to make it to be there for Dex.
But that's when, you know, I started doing my own research, and as is, I'm already, everybody know me how smart I am with food and stuff. And mind you, I was shot years ago, 20 years ago. So with the lead inside me and eating the wrong food, I truly believe that's how the cancer manifests.
I think I was afraid. I was afraid. And I didn't want him to say to me what he was saying. And sometimes when you can hear certain kinds of information, it can almost seem like, like this is not gonna make a lot of sense, because it's not gonna work out the way you know you're supposed to say it will. And I think immediately, if I were to be honest, there were feelings of tentacles inside of me pulling back.
It took us through the journey of recovering. And so part of our memories when he was getting sick at the Bay House is that he would sit upstairs in his reclining chair in front of the home theater because he would play movies. And he was in a lot of pain at the time. And he, even one time, he was so sick that he was holding a remote control in his hand and putting it in his mouth, insisting it was a thermometer. And he was really mad when we said, well, a remote control cannot be a thermometer. And that night, we got admitted to the medical ICU because he was hallucinating.
So when my dad had cancer, I was still in school. I think I was in 5th grade. And my mom was working a few jobs just for the hospital bills and everything like that. So it was definitely a hard time.
Love you. All right. Hold the fruit for me. Love you, Dan.
Love you, brother.
See you on the flip side.
I never wanted him to wake up alone in the hospital. It just wasn't an option. And you can only, his wife was there, his sister was there, his daughter was there, but they were in school, so I had to keep the house going. You know, you gotta beat cancer, but you gotta have a life left on the other side.
He was in so much pain and couldn't take the pain that he told me, I was the first person he told this to. He wrote a letter to his daughter, and he was gonna give up. He told me he had the gun loaded. As he was going to leave the letter for his daughter, he heard her. She woke up from a dream. And they say fate and things happen for a reason. But he heard her and he went to go see her. And it got him to change that whole state of mind that he was in.
And I called her. I said, listen to me, OG. We got this. We got this, man. You feel me? You know what I mean? He always said, my brother. He said, how you doing, my brother? I said, I'm doing great. So, you know, in your lives, I see you doing your thing on IG. I said, but listen I heard what happened. But guess what? God only choose the strongest soldiers to go through the transformation. Because when you come out of this, you're going to inspire so many people. And you know what I'm saying? It's just another bridge that we got to cross. You know what I'm saying? I want you to hold tight. I want you to stay strong. Because we keep you in prayer. We going to fight with you. You know what I'm saying?
I lost it. I lost it because here's a guy, again, who went above for me and cared. And when he went through that, I was so scared. And he still was helping people. He was still going out of his way. He is such a good person. And he's funny. He tries to make his jokes. He's always laughing. You know, he's doing what he can. But this man, he gave me a lot. And I am forever in his debt.
What's up, everyone? How are you? I hope everybody's doing good. I'm doing great, thank God. This little update to let you know that my diet and the treatment worked very well. Unfortunately, we still need to do surgery, so I have a big surgery tomorrow morning to remove the beast. And hopefully we'll update you right after that, you know, like in the very near future, and to let you know that I'm back. Thank you all, I love you all. You are the greatest fan in the world.
He had it, came back with boom, ba bang, and you know, but he's a fighter. George's a tough little guy. You know, he really is. Sometimes, it's not the size of your body, it's the size of your heart. And he has a big heart, whether it's fighting or loving.
And I said this to George, I'm like, yo, bro, you were here for a reason, and you were here to change the world.
Being who George is, even with the cancer, coaching his athletes that he loves so dearly is what helped keep him alive.
If you look at him on his exterior, he's Superman. I mean, he carries himself with such pride, with such love and respect that you have to, even if you don't know him, you have to look at him and respect him. You never know what he's been through, what he's going through, and what he has to do just to survive.
Give me very little chance, 10, 15%, whatever. That means you got 90% of dying, So she said, oh my God, honey, that doesn't sound good. I said, what are you talking about? She said, well, all the doctors want to meet you. I said, honey, it's gonna be good because look at me. I'm up to 197 pounds. I'm muscular, I'm working out every day, I said, what can it be wrong? Second day on the chemo, and I'm in the gym. Can't stop me.
Nope.
Gotta kill that cancer, baby.
George is a superhuman, This is the man that fought cancer, bro. He whooped cancer's ass. Not a lot of people can say this. If you're able to fight cancer and beat cancer, that makes you a superhuman.
You see, getting shot, my brain helped me survive that.
Right.
Getting cancer, food helped me survive that, along with my brain.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Because now I could really see, oh my God, use your food as medicine today, or you're gonna be using medicine as food later on.
What's up, buddy? This is going to be my number 18 Olympia because I missed, I think, 4 of them being sick. So just happy, man, to be back at it,
I can't imagine what you were thinking about when you were bedridden. Did you watch the Olympia at all?
Of course,
you
of
watched
course.
it?
Yeah, I watched the Olympia. I mean, remember, I had people in it. I was
Wait,
dialing,
you were still coaching while
I
you
was
were...
dialing Dexter while I was in the hospital.
No way.
Yeah, and these guys, so. Wow.
Oh, my brother, how are you? I just did this surgery, today, and I just get up. So, inshallah, when I go back home, because I had to travel for this, I'll help your friend, okay?
I'm Aaron Sigerman. I'm the CEO and founder of Redcon One, the world's fastest growing sports supplement brand. He was already a big name in the bodybuilding industry. He was already coaching top Olympia competitors. He created a life for himself in the world of fitness. He found his passion. George is that he cares about the athlete's health.
Man, get up and stop faking it. Stop faking it.
George has always been a successful guy in his own right. And so he does a lot of things out of the goodness of his heart because he wants to.
You're fucking Team Farah.
George has always had a big heart and has cared about the guys he works with tremendously. I mean, the relationships he's built. When the history books of bodybuilding are written, George Farah will have a big place in the history of our sport.
George Farah, coach of many, many pros and Olympians.
Holy macro! This guy's the first call out.
Thank you. He's one of the first gurus, period. The whole coaching and guru industry kind of got built through George.
The drive and the perseverance to live and be successful and live a long, healthy life. He's amazing. He's a smart man, but most important, he's a great friend. He would do anything for me, and I consider George a brother.
Right now, I'm not just a coach. I'm somebody who's willing to pay it forward. Somebody who's willing to show you, hey, listen, man, food is your medicine. We have so many outlets is gonna be out there. We have this documentary, I have a book, many.
You have a book coming out?
Yes, there's a book coming.
What's the name of the book?
The Guru. You got me, the Guru. You got the Guru. But seriously, so many things I'm working on an app too, so we can help people. app to help you like get in shape. You kind of plug in. So
meal plan,
yeah, meal plan, workout plan, all that stuff. If you want to be a vegan, so I got it all. I want to cover it all. You know what I'm saying? Because I'm not that guy. Listen, no matter what you do, I'm telling you one thing. Do not listen to one person tells you it's my way or no way. That's wrong. Don't listen to people, keto. No, dude. Or vegan. No. You know what? Everything in life, there's a place for it. You know what I'm saying?
Yes, I actually grew up in his hands. Like he just not only, teach me how to do bodybuilding, like that's a very small thing, but he teach me like how to be a good human being and like how to respect everyone, family, how to take care of family. And, always, he's always up to help others, There's so much to learn from him.
So I've known George obviously since I was really, really young. He's just an unbelievable guy. I would say George is such a loyal guy. He's always been loyal to me and my family, which obviously I really appreciate. He's watched me, grow up. So it's just really cool, to have him around. He's always been an amazing guy. He goes out of his way to help not just his own athletes, but anybody that he comes in contact with in general, And I think like his whole story of, lately how he's overcome cancer. We really thought he wasn't going to be here. I remember that. So the fact that he got through it and he's just so, he's so educated with being healthy and everything like this, like the impact he has on so many people is just, it's unbelievable.
I think as far as George's coaching style, number one, he's one of those motivators.
He has always just shown me so much love and so much kindness, and is always just so selfless. He really does feel like he's like a family member to me, like a big brother.
He legitimately wanted me to do good.
There's just something different about him.
Yeah.
And it was like instant, he looked at you like family.
Yeah.
It wasn't, oh, you're my client, you're gonna win, we're gonna make all this money. It was, I'm gonna take care of you, we're gonna do this together. And
that's how it's always been.
Always been like that.
He's treated me like his own daughter.
Yeah.
And we had a conversation, and he said, I would love to work with you. And he asked me about my goals, he asked me about my family. And this is just who George Farah is.
As competitors, and especially the ones that are critical of themselves, you tend to second guess yourself. There's no better person in my journey thus far than George to cover those aspects.
Definitely, George is more than a coach. When you become his athlete, he's like you're gonna be like a family to him.
Yes. you have to get. Ladies and gentlemen, the boogeyman.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Yeah. George is a guy that when he walks into the room, right, he lit their room with this positive attitude, positive energy. He's got nothing to say about anybody but positivity.
That girl, what's her name? Teresa? The only one that she talks and talks.
That's the only one that did,
I think get along with that lady.
Too much.
I really don't like you. I'm gonna be honest with you. In front of your husband, I don't like you. I love you.
You love me. I knew that was coming. Uncle.
In front of you, both your hands, and take them all the way up. Yeah, let them see that, bro. Beautiful. Good. Good. Side try. I know you're less, but I don't want to show it to people.
Yeah. It's Team Farah, but it should be Family Farah, because you're going to hear repetitively, I'm sure, everybody's his brother and everybody's his sister. Because George doesn't do things for money. George does things because he wants to help people and make them better. And you can't do that. You can't dedicate yourself to somebody that much without them being family.
The way George takes care of them, it's like a family. The way he treats them, the way he's really there at all the shows and behind the scenes, and just making sure his athletes are comfortable and are in the best position to win.
I would say he's like me because I believe it takes two to tangle, yeah? And I'm very selective of my circle. And George happens to be someone we had a chemistry and I touched with him because I think we have the same mind goals, which is health first. So no matter what we're doing, health comes first. And George is all about health.
Who's this guy?
Yes, sir. We did it, bro. I got the trophy.
He's definitely one of those people, if you have questions, you know you can go to him because he's open. He's not closed off, and he's not like, I got this secret. He's going to give you his real assessment and opinion, and you can take it or leave it.
And new Mr. Olympia, Brandon.
George is that type of dude. He'll help anybody out. He don't care who the coach is. He don't care if he's stepping on your toes or nothing. He just care about the athlete.
He doesn't take any bullshit. Like, you know, sometimes you get these loving people, but you know, you can walk all over him. He's not someone you could walk over, and he's gonna stand on what he believes. And I would say proof, like the proof is in the pudding of what he does. Like he embodies what he preaches. He practices what he preaches.
What I liked about him though, most importantly, he cares. You know, in the beginning, if you don't know him, and that was me, I thought it was a little bit of facade. And that's why probably me and him butted heads together sometimes in the beginning, until I realized that that's just who he is.
George was always there. It doesn't matter. He didn't want money for it. He didn't want anything, accolades, nothing. He just wanted to help. And he's helped me and our family and our friends so many times. I can't even count.
To get to know George on that level is just absolutely wild to, you know, to understand his mental after everything he'd been through. To go back and get your degree as a doctor? Are you kidding me?
Oh man, because I see, you know what I'm saying, when I first met him, the energy was different. You know what I'm saying? When you meet a coach and they talk to you like they know you, you know what I mean, the care, the sincerity, you know what I'm saying, like that love, that bond, you know what I'm saying? That's what a lot of people miss. It's not about the money, you know what I'm saying? When I hit him up, he ain't asked me, he said, when you win, I win.
And also he's family.
Because of bodybuilding, you know, made me who I am today. So there's a lot of, you know, everything happened in your life. It's a story to tell, you know, and bodybuilding is one of them. That's what, you know, opened the venue for me, you know, made me go on Good Morning America and, you know, train The Rock.
Some amazing coaches, George Farah, I've worked with him. I've known him for years. He's a good buddy. I still don't know how to pronounce his last name.
This is really what I'm here for. I think that's what's my calling. I think that's why God kept me here many times, because I want to get to that point to show people how to live longer, healthier.
So George, I want to thank you for sharing your story with not only us, but the entire world, and we're honored.
Such an impactful story.
It's my pleasure, you guys, honestly, and I just want people to watch it. You know, maybe they can learn one thing, and that one thing can be saving their life later on.
Yeah.
Thank you, George.
The power is mine. Thank you.
Oh, my pleasure, you guys. My pleasure.
Thank you.
My pleasure, my pleasure.
More than held his own. He's added some size, and he's actually one of the more confident guys out there, Sean.
Well, Dan, you got to remember, too, a year ago, this guy was training in the gym, and the whole machine came down on his head and had to be stapled shut. So just to get back here is a feat amongst itself. Qualified by getting third at the Charlotte Pro. Here we've got about 20 of the best in the world, and George Farah is amongst them.
Is ready. Where's my makeup?
Yeah. That's right.
Ready?
From the moment I win.
You got it? You got it? You ready to go?
Yep, let's go.
All right. Looking good.
Guru, take one.
It's making me nervous.
No.
Man don't usually get nervous.
And apple bite?
Yeah, you can have the apple bite. You're so bad.
George does bodybuilding from the heart, from passion.
45.
Come on, baby.
Go ahead, come on.
Do it.
Come on, make some noise, bro.
Just gave birth, and George sat next to me, and he kissed the baby. George, everybody knows George. He loves the babies, and he'll give him a kiss.
This is like a whole news crew.
My brother.
First time I'm gonna see the setup here. Ooh, professional. I love it. Look at this.
Ladies and gentlemen.
Got the guru right here, brother.
Abbas Katami, take one.
I sent him a rear shot of my glutes, just naked from behind, and he told me, he just showed the phone to one of the judges. He said, "That's my guy."
He treats everybody the same. I didn't imagine one day I'll be just the same as the way he's treating Kai Greene and the rest of the pros.
George, for me as a wife, I was like, Brandon, we gotta give him a shot because it gave me hope.
Oh, I probably have some real crazy, funny stories to tell. He'd be like, I can't believe you remember that, but a lot of people feel that way, I'm sure. But George Farah is not just physically, but mentally and emotionally involved with his client. They do become his family.
This is where that name Bulletproof came from. I wish I was bulletproof because this is what almost ended my life.
I'm his assistant, personal assistant. I also took care of Nora when she was a baby. I always babysat for her. So I'm part of the family. I cook everything fresh, everything's organic. I cook daily, nothing's put in the refrigerator at night.
Cook it. I gotta eat, lady.
He just desires to be around people and help any way he can.
Even in the hardest time of his life, he always just put everybody first.
He wants his client to win the life, not just a show.
The guru, Andrew Jacked, shot 27.
His mentality is just exceptional, it's just crazy. And also he's family.
What I understand, and I think my brother George understand also, is life is going to be rough, it's going to be difficult, but what do you do about it? And for us, we give back.
George is never without words to talk to you, whether it's telling you you're doing something wrong or telling you you're doing something good. He's a straightforward guy. Easy guy to like and love.
He's coached amazing athletes, Olympia champions, right? So not many coaches get to have that on their resume. One Olympia champ, let alone multiple,
He's staying up till 3, 4 a.m. listening to all the audio and all the stuff that you've been gossiping about.
You see how I talk to myself in the bathroom? I walk in and go to the bathroom, I'm so proud of you, George. George, I'm so proud of you. Who the hell he's talking to? I don't know that. I am mini guru.